Yo, what's going on, y'all? My name is Christopher Life Willars, social content creator. Yes, I reached 31 million people last year, but tonight I'm chatting with Staxx. Y'all know what it is, man. Make sure you get into this conversation. We're talking about some good stuff for real.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Christopher Life Willars.
And they're like, well, we're going to set it up. And what that is, they got a corner cell. It's kind of off in the cut. And they get one of their guys, the big homies from their city, and then one of them going to cell. And, well, I didn't have any big homies, but somebody is supposed to come stand for me, and I go in the cell. And I fight one, and hopefully we come out, get the other one set up. The 5%ers was like, yo, we got you. And they was from all over different cities. So that automatically, we had a little support there. I was like, I'm ready now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the first three, it's all adrenaline. I'm younger. I'm whooped like I'm beating. The fourth dude, he beat the hell out. He beat the hell out. But I went back and I finished it took 3 days. You know, what happened was it created a monster because I was lumped up, you know, whatever, but I had that respect. And then I had the respect of somebody being from out of town, and automatically dudes knew. They was like, well, he might get beat up, he might get, but he gonna do what he gonna do too. That kind of set me up, because in prison, it wasn't, I learned how to bid really fast then, you know. And then one of the female guards, you know, she found out, because it's just like the streets, man. I had a role within 2 months of me being in prison. You know,
You had a what?
A role. I had a female guard bringing me in stuff, you know, based from that incident. I was now in a car. I was with the 5%. I had a car over there. I had backup now off that incident. I started getting all the out-of-towners, anybody that wasn't from VA, I clicked this up. Like, I was just different, you know?
Now, if you would have moved differently and you didn't fight all them guys, it would have been a whole different experience, right?
I would have been, yeah, it would have been definitely, it would have been. Like, because, again, if I would have stayed in that hole, what would have been said was I checked in. Because everybody knows you got the option to come back out on the yard if you sign that waiver. If you don't sign that waiver, you're a coward. It's so messed up and twisted and polluted, but that's just, at the time, that's how prison worked. I'm so glad I survived that. And I just knew that I was going to be in there for a long time. I wanted to go home, and I wasn't going to have that reputation, because I didn't snitch when I had the opportunity to go home. You definitely not going to put that label on me. And I ain't moving that way in here, you know.
And you got a lot of time to do.
And it wouldn't have mattered where I went. That's the thing. Wherever you go in prison, your reputation is going to precede you, follow. It's going to catch up to you if it ain't already there. You know. So, yeah, it was wild. And what's crazy, that was the only time my entire prison bid I got into an altercation where it was really about me. Any other altercation I ever got into throughout the rest of those years, it was one of my homeboys, somebody in our car. I never had any issues direct, and I'm grateful, man. I thank God.
Yeah, you just stay out of the way and things.
And that's it. Because sometimes when I tell that part about fighting dudes, people may assume like, oh, he must have been on. No. After that, I was the respectful, don't step to me though, you know what I'm saying? But I really, what made me successful in that environment, I started helping dudes write letters. I started taking them to the law library. So if there was a GD car, a Crip car, whoever the big homie was, I knew they had a case. I'd be like, bro, let me come to the law library. Let me work on your case. Let me see what's going on. So I'm building the connections with the big homies out of each car, each city. I'm being strategic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I got the job as the inmate advisor. I'm fighting the cases on the institution because Dude's like, yo, make life the inmate attorney. He knows what he's talking about. Dudes would come up to me, the most gangster dudes that got 27 bodies. They're hey, bro, what's the fourth planet from the sun? Because I just had that reputation. I didn't know shit. Half the time I got to go look it up myself. But they knew I knew how to read, write, and do some law work. And that's what really it was, man. And I hustled. I got my money, and I kept my respect in there. Made sure my people were good. But yeah, man, those were some crazy times. I'm sitting here talking about. I'm like so glad I survived that stuff, bro. It could have went so many different ways.
Hold on one second. All right, so are you around any notable people in prison that like did some heinous things, or people with a crazy reputation?
Oh yeah. I was around this one guy. They called him Big Shirley, and Big Shirley was probably like 6'5", whatever. He's like abnormally tall, like NBA player. And basically he had got locked up for 2 bodies. And what he was doing, he was cross-dressing and luring guys or whatever to this like back road in this country part of this Tidewater area. But after they got him for those 2, like rumor had it, he had like 10 or 15 more, because they kept finding, bodies back there in that same area, same type of description. But he had like 600 some years. He was never coming home anyway, so they never pushed it. But one time they put me in a cell, because they got cell levels 1, 2, 3. 3 is like the most violent. 1 is non-violent. They had to have that because they were sending guys up to level 4s for dirty urines, which was crazy. You might have a guy that never did time ever. He in there for a DUI. He done smoked the joint on a road camp, and now he's at a level 4 with killers. And that created a whole nother situation. But I was a level 2 for the cell, so I can go in either or. And they put me in a cell. When the toilet stopped working in my cell, they moved me temporarily in with this guy. And this young dude had killed 2 young girls. I don't want to sound so, but he crawled in the window, and they were having a sleepover, and he cut the head off one and suffocated the other. And that night, I went to the hole. I went to solitary confinement for about 2.5 weeks after that. I should have did more, but the guards, they had mercy on me. Because dude was out of his mind, and he's a young black dude. So I'm thinking like, young black, anybody watching this, I got to say this too. You cannot stereotype people by crimes. Like, don't get me wrong. Data, stats, we got that. But when you're in prison, you may think, he wouldn't do that. You're probably wrong. This is a young black dude at the time. He looked like he could have been my cousin, chill. I'm thinking he going home. No, he did this. And the way he so casually mentioned it to me when we was in the cell playing chess, I was like, he's out of his mind. And then he doubled down on it. And that's when I had to give it to him. I just lost it. Because I was like, I couldn't. It was like you're trying to make me agree with something so heinous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah. And side note, in VA, you did something to a kid, a woman, like you're miserable in there. I don't know how it is in the States, but
that one guy that killed that girl near the college campus.
Yeah.
Is he in there?
I'm sure. I remember exactly who you're talking about because I was in there at the time. But I'm gonna tell you, high profile. I was on Greensville Correctional Center when they executed, what was it, Muhammad? The older,
Malvo.
Yeah, so the older of the 2 DC snipers, when they executed him, I was on Greensville. I was around, man. Like monsters exist, and that's one time. Like people hear me talking about prison, I think sometimes they get it confused. Like I'm like, free the prisoners. I'm not saying that. I am saying people get over sentenced. You do got innocent people in there.
Free some of them.
Yeah, but there's a percentage of people I could tell you that I've looked in the eye. They don't need to come home. You don't want them in your communities. They need to stay where they're at. Like, and being in environments like level 4, maximum security, level 3s. I worked in the kitchen with a dude, this old timer, who killed his cell partner and tried to flush him down the toilet. Like, how do you try to flush your cell partner like in prison? So that tells you what he was like. You know what I'm saying? Like, the stuff you either witness or is in your proximity, it haunts you, man. It's the craziest, most abnormal, scary movie. And what's scary is, by the way, as we're just talking, is that some people's all right with living in there. Not because they have to. Like, I know lifers, they're not, they got to make the best of it. But I'm talking about the guys that go back 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. If it's not mental health, you're just choosing. That's crazy. You must like it, because that.
I was in and out of prison for a long time. I spent I didn't do a lot of time. I did about 5 years.
Yeah.
But I've been to level 4s, but it was spread out, you know. And I never thought it was gonna end. I was always going in and out of prison.
Yeah.
You know, 18 months here, a year here, 30 days, 60 days. It was like,
what was there a reason behind it?
Alcohol, man.
Yes, but that's addiction and mental health.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they say over 70% of those incarcerated got mental health issues. And hands down, the percentage of those that got addiction issues, because they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I stopped drinking, I never got in trouble again. Believe that shit?
Hey, me too.
Were you with Jay Williams from the YouTuber Jay Williams, Let's Live Life?
Was I ever? No, I've been on Ian Bick. I've been on Matt.
No,
Cobb.
were you ever with him? He was in prison.
No, not that I know of.
I've been on Ian Bick too, man.
Yeah. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, shout out to Ian Bick.
Yep, for sure.
Been on Lockdown 23-1.
Yeah, I've been on Lockdown 23.
Yep. Shout out to Josh.
Shout out
to him. So when you finally are getting out, is it a big culture shock? And did you get out? Like, was it a shock to get out? Was it a surprise? Did you know you were getting out?
Anybody, if you go to my social media, there's a post that's pinned, like my TikTok and IG, of me walking out of prison. I think definitely on TikTok. And my face is like, my family's like crying and happy. And I'm just like, let's go. I was disconnected, man. I went into prison as, again, this angry 19-year-old kid that wasn't a criminal. He got in the car. He made a decision to get in the car, and he made a bad decision, but like, that really wasn't me, you know? And by the time I had left prison in 17 years, I was running yards on level 3 prisons. I was a big homie, because I had fell into that lifestyle while I was behind the bar, behind the wall, because I was still young. Like, and then I got away from all that in prison, which is almost unheard of. But that tells you, like, God had me the whole way. And I came home with a wife. I married my wife, right? Which she's over there cooking. Shout out to her over there.
Love after lockup stuff right there. Man.
Turned that down. We had an opportunity. We turned it down.
Did you?
Yeah, I was out my mind when I came home. When I came home in 2020 after 17 years of prison, it was, I don't know how to work my phone. Oh, here comes the end of the world.
Yeah, I don't think anyone did 17 years and is on that show. I don't
know. They were reaching out. My wife, we made it. We like the third. Yeah. And when I came home, because you talking about culture shock, that was part of it. Like, I knew I wasn't ready, man. I came home. I didn't know how to work my phone. I didn't know how to do self-checkout. I forgot how to pay for, if you even paid for gas at the pump. People didn't even text when I got locked up. They had the Nokia chirps. And I came home, they had smartphones. And then I came home January 2020, 3 months later, after the Kobe tragedy and his daughter and the passengers. It was the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I got a CO, a probation officer, saying, you need a job. They shutting everything down. the end of the world's coming. I'm thinking when I come home, it's going to be relief. No, welcome to the big leagues. This is the end of the world. This is, you got a wife and a mortgage. This is, your mental health is jacked up beyond you. I was telling my wife, I'm good, I'm fine. I came home PTSD'd out. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Totally different person I am now.
Sleeping with a knife and shit.
I wasn't that bad, but I couldn't sleep. I had to close the doors. I remember in the basement, I separated the basement with this big ass black sheet. And it's like, and I said I was making like my gaming room. Man, I made a cell down there. Looking back now, like, I'm like, you made a cell in the basement. Like, you was jacked up. Like, there was, like, not only that, the way I talked, the way I spoke to people, even my wife. I went to counseling. I could have lost my wife. All this stuff, behind drinking, coming home messed up. Because I'm used to. I don't want to. Again, I wasn't there barking orders, but I had respect. I had respect, not just with the guys, with the guards. Who, like. And in order to have respect, you move a certain way, and you talk. And you got to, because if you don't, if you move different, then you could be. And I was wired like that. And I didn't know how to turn that off or dial that down, and those were the things, man. I had to twitch. I was freaking anxiety through the roof. Like,
yeah, you can't have that jail mentality or the prison mentality on the streets. It doesn't work.
Oh man. And it was crazy because I was one of those, because towards the end of my bid, I was working with the counselors, and I prided myself. I thought I was more human. I thought I was going to be okay. But there was just some things that was just, they was in me. And I had to work on that, man. It took me, I want to say, people add, they're like, yo, how long did it take? I've been home over 5 years now. It took me about 1.5 years, close to 2 years, to really like feel human again. And that sounds crazy to some people, but yeah.
So where'd your life go? What did you start doing? How did you make money? And what did you get into?
So good thing, before I left prison, I was running a nonprofit with a friend of mine. So we were already doing some things. The prison was allowing us to do seminars, and so when I came home, I wanted to do the same thing. I was like, and the guards, the wardens, like different people, they're like, yo, you can get training, you can do the same stuff out here. And that was my plan. I was going to work in Reentry. I don't know why I wanted to work for prison. I just left one. But anyways, but when I came home with the pandemic and everything going on and 1,000 felonies and you're gone for 17 years, I had to go with what I got. And I got on the back of a garbage truck. So I was on the back of the garbage truck during the pandemic, but I was making like $4,000 a month. They were giving us hazard pay because of the pandemic, attendance pay. If you showed, I was there every day. Gloves, masks. My wife had me all the sprays and lights,
Yeah.
And I go from making 27 cents an hour in prison to make at $4,000 hanging off the garbage truck. I'm risking my life. I'm going for it. My wife, I tell a guy, yo, if you're going to marry somebody, marry a partner, marry somebody that is intelligent and can balance you out. And, God bless my wife. She's great with, budgeting and, credit and responsible, mature adult things. And we saved our money, during the pandemic. We didn't do the PPP like everybody. But she was getting the unemployment. It was like $900 a week at one point or some crazy number. Stimulus, we didn't spend money. And she did hair. I was a licensed barber from prison. So we was cutting hair, we always been like that. And got off the garbage truck. I didn't get off the garbage truck until March of last year. I had got off it because me and my wife, when we saved our money, we ended up opening up a cosmetology school. Anybody watching that, no, we're not rich. We took what we had and we threw it and we went for it. And we did good, But I had to go back to work, to supplement income, make sure the school could still go, because starting off, you don't got no support. You're trying to get students in there. I remember I was stressing and I was telling my wife, like, yo, I got to get 3 more jobs to make sure everything's okay. Like I'm trying to figure things out because the pay had dropped, no more pandemic, school wasn't doing well yet. I had ended up getting on Facebook, and I did an online petition for my brother who's incarcerated to get him home, and we got over 180,000 signatures. And people started calling me, and they're like, bro, you gotta like get on the internet. And I was like, man, I'm not doing that. And I got on TikTok a few times before. This is what's crazy. Like I had gone viral before. I did a TikTok and did 900,000 views and then sat my phone down for like another year. Like, and people are like, you're psyched. Because I didn't care about it back then. I didn't understand it either. Like, you know, and I was still messed up in my head. Fast forward to March of last year, I was stressing. We're trying to make ends meet. And I do a TikTok on the way out the door to go DoorDash. Because the day before I had to quit my job on the garbage truck because I got into it with the supervisor. He did some snake stuff. My wife was like, just come home. We're not going to deal with that stress. We're going to figure it out. And I'm going to DoorDash the next day. Before I left out, I did a TikTok and I did 2 deliveries and my homeboy hits my phone up. He's like, bro, what the hell? Look at your TikTok. I was like, what are you talking about? And I pulled over. I looked at my TikTok and in like 2 hours or like maybe like 3-4 hours, like 1.7 million views or something like that.